All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2018 NFL Week 16 pre-game analysis show. I'm obviously the host, the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the Chiseled Adonis. This video is sponsored by MyBookie.AG. Go to MyBookie.AG, use the promo code Chiseled Adonis, and win you some money. All right, last week I won myself about $45. I'm feeling much better by myself with that $45 in my damn account. What I'm probably going to do is go out there and use that money and bet some more money and win me some more money, because I've only been winning all year. Use the promo code Chiseled Adonis and MyBookie.AG, and don't be a dummy, win you some money. Now, there's no Thursday Night Football tonight. I thought there was. This is much to my chagrin. I was excited to see some football on Thursday. Turns out it appears that Thursday Night Football might just be done for the entire season. In fact, it's not a might. I believe that it is, because week 17, every game is played on Sunday, all 16 games. But we do have some Saturday night games too, I believe. You got yourself first, the Redskins taking on the Titans, traveling to Tennessee. The over-under on MyBookie.ag is 37 points. I'll say this, I have no faith for the Redskins to win this particular game. Why? Because Adrian Peterson has since disappeared, like I told you, since that Monday night game when he ran for the 90-yard touchdown. Outside of that, the man only had 8 yards. So you really haven't seen him since that 100-yard effort. I can't remember if it was against the Giants or whoever it was when he went over 100 yards, but that was the last time we really saw Adrian Peterson. There's an APB out for this man. Nobody knows where he at. Last video, I said he was on a milk carton. I was checking milk cartons. It appears that he's still on it. Nobody knows where Adrian Peterson is. You still got Josh Johnson over there starting for this team, and Tennessee's coming in with a head of steam on back-to-back wins. Derrick Henry's running all over everybody. All right, and remember what I told you guys, the Redskins, it's a mental thing. With all these injuries going on, they have to rally around, the players that they have remaining to go out there and perform. I don't think it's going to be enough to go into Tennessee, win on the road, and beat this Titan team that's fighting for playoff survival. So I'll say this, the Tennessee Titans go in there and they win the game. All right, they win at home. Marcus Mariota, I don't expect to see a huge performance from him. I think it's going to be Derrick Henry on the ground that sets the tone. He puts his team in the position to go into the end zone if he doesn't go himself. Maybe Dion Lewis gets a couple of, screen passes here and there and finds himself in the end zone. Short slants or curl routes or squirrel routes for those who like to, change between the 10 and 15 yards to Corey Davis here and there. So we'll see how things play out, but I'm rolling with the Titans to win this game. Next on Sunday night, Saturday night, the Ravens traveling to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. Now this game, big time playoff implications for both teams. The Chargers need to possibly win this game so they can possibly secure that 1 seed and or win the division, depending on what happens with Kansas City. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But this is what concerns me about the Baltimore Ravens. Offensively, they're running a very dynamic offense. It's very tough for defenses to stop them. However, the past 3 years, we've seen Baltimore come into week 16 rolling in at 8-6 or 9-5. Or I should go the last of four out of the past 5 years, outside of the year that they went 5-11. I believe that was 2015. But outside of that one particular year, they have rolled into week 16 either 9-5 or 8-6, and they have closed the season absolutely abysmal. They'll win one game and then lose the game that matters. Or in the past 2 years, I believe they only won one game, and then 2 years ago they lost 2 in a row, where they screwed themselves out of the playoffs. And this is a very tough game for them. Their defense travels. But offensively, I'm a little concerned, because you saw defensively how the Chargers played against the Chiefs last week. They started out slow, but then they clamped down and made their adjustments. They didn't really lose anybody defensively last week. They're coming back with the same game plan, and they can stop, I believe they can stop the rushing attack of Lamar Jackson, of the Baltimore Ravens, totally, completely, with the running backs included. I think they'll be able to limit that and force Lamar to throw. Now, I'm not confident in Lamar Jackson throwing the ball. He can, but he hasn't showed me enough to really sit back and say, you know what, he's that dual threat quarterback. The threat part of dual is coming from him with his legs. So we'll see how they play out in game plan. Baltimore's defense, like I said earlier, they travel. All right, they can play against anybody, anywhere. I'm not expecting to see Phillip Rivers go out there and sling the ball all over the place, but you are getting a Keenan Allen back. You're going to line him up in positions where he's in the slot, so we'll see how that plays out. If they have Eric Weddle step down and have to play one-on-one, I'm a little concerned for Baltimore because he is getting a little bit older. This has been one of his worst seasons since becoming a Raven. I don't know how he got the Pro Bowl vote. Shows you that popularity kinds of runs the Pro Bowl. But outside of that, you got Melvin Gordon coming back as well. So we'll see how the ground game works. If you run successfully against Baltimore, you've got them beat. That's how you beat them. Once you can open up that entire playbook, you can beat the Baltimore Ravens. I believe the Chargers will be able to do that. So I'm rolling with the Chargers to win this game. Over under being 43.5 points. I think this particular game, it's going to be over. The Baltimore is going to get a couple of touchdowns here and there, but I believe this game is going to be a separation of one score. It's going to be a touchdown, maybe late from Phillip Rivers, or they're going to have themselves a lead. Lamar Jackson's going to try to lead his team down the field and ultimately fail. So we'll see how things play out, but I'm rolling with the Chargers to win this game. Next, we're moving on to Sunday. The Cowboys hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Over under 48.5 points. Or I should say just 48 points. There's no half there. I want to say the Buccaneers will pull off the upset, but because you just saw Dallas get shut out last week, attitude-wise, they're going to want to make up for that. So I expect to see a heavy load of Zeke. And you already know the Buccaneers defense has been absolutely abysmal all season. Offensively, they're still putting up numbers. But defensively, one of the worst defenses in the league. And because of that, and they give up, yards on the ground, Zeke will be able to run the football here. He doesn't need to get 100 plus yards. He only really needs to get about 80 to set up that third and manageable, and then Dak will be able to find whether it's Amari Cooper. He'll be able to find whether it's an Allen Hurns or whoever the hell is going to be short yardage situation. They'll be able to move the football effectively. As for the Bucs, offensively, their line has to be able to block for Jameis because you've seen all season when Jameis gets pressured, he throws interceptions, and you got angry guys like Lawrence. He's pissed off about getting shut out. Gregory, he's upset about getting shut out. You got Sean Lee in there, Jalen Smith, Van Der Esch, Byron Jones. Oh, we got Tony Romo. Whoa, I kind of got too far into it, but still, you got headhunters on defense pissed off at what just happened last week. All right, so I expect them to go in there and play a great game against Tampa. It still should be considered a trap game because you know how Dallas gets when they can end up choking in the late moments. I don't expect to see that happen. I'm rolling with the Cowboys to win this game. I think the Bucs can possibly make it interesting in the first half, but in the second, I think they're going to fall apart. So I'm rolling with the Cowboys to win this game. Next, the Patriots hosting the Bills. Now, everybody knows the news coming out today. Josh Gordon is stepping away. Did I say Gordon? Josh Gordon is stepping away from the New England Patriots. Some mental health issues, marijuana use, all that other stuff, and that jazz. I'll just say this. I wish you the best in your future endeavors. I hope you can get better. Mental health is nothing to be joked about. At that, addiction and all that other stuff, you got to be able to beat that sort of stuff. It's a mental sort of thing. You got to look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, today I say enough is enough. Hopefully we can see this man in the NFL later on down the road, but I don't think it's probable that that's going to happen, especially given his age and being suspended in the past before. It's unfortunate. It truly is unfortunate. As for the Patriots taking on the Bills played a great game the first time they met up. But that was in, Ralph Wilson Stadium? That's what the name of the Bills Stadium is? Whatever the case was. I don't think the Bills will be able to travel to New England and, put out a good performance. This game in particular, I think the Patriots will be able to run the ball effectively. I think it's going to be a Sony Michel show on the ground. Tom Brady connecting with Gronk. Gronk usually has good games against the Bills for the most part. So I think he should be able to get going, although he is somewhat a shell of himself. I think the Patriots win this game. I don't expect it to be some sort of blowout situation, but I think they get back on track because they have two division games remaining, two winnable division games at that. They're playing at home for the rest of the season. Or I should say the remaining two games. On the road, you saw every single game they lost, it was on the road. But when they're playing at home, they're playing much better. However, I am a little concerned about their offensive line trying to block for Brady because Brady was getting pressured all day against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh does have a better defensive line than the Bills, in my opinion. However, the Bills can possibly get after Brady, but I don't think their offense will be able to sustain enough firepower to keep up with New England. Granted, they may have given up 10 points last week, or I should say they may have only put up 10 points last week. I don't think they're going to replicate that again. I think they go out there and possibly score like 28, maybe even 35 touchdowns, stuff like that, you know. So this particular game, I'm rolling with the Patriots to win. Next game, we got the Panthers taking on the Falcons. Falcons coming on the road. Julio Jones, he's on the injury report, but I expect to see this man play. Cam Newton, on the other hand, he is shut down for the rest of the season. So because of that, I'm rolling with the Falcons to win this game. The Panthers, you just lost, what was it now, 6 consecutive games? Tough break. Tough break. I believe this particular game is when you can finally have your name go into the death note, because the playoff hopes have been deleted. I'm rolling with the Falcons to win this. There's nothing else that you can really be said, you know. Both these teams, you expected them to be there in the dance for the postseason conversation. They underachieved this particular season, barring injury, of course. But you know, what else are you going to do? I'm rolling with the Falcons to win this game. Can't really give you that much of an analogy. I mean, Cam's not playing. You know, put everything on the shoulders of Christian McCaffrey and hope he goes out there and plays. The Carolina defense, do I expect them to play the same way that they did last week against Drew Brees? Not really. It can happen. Maybe. I think the Falcons would be able to run, you know, throw the ball. The ground game, I don't expect to see Tevin Coleman do what he did last week, but I'm rolling with the Falcons to win this game. Next, we got the Jags taking on the Dolphins in Miami. Because they're playing in Miami, I'm going to roll with Miami to win this game. Over under on MyBookie.AG, promo code Chiseled Adonis is 38.5 points. I think Miami wins this game. I don't expect to see them run the ball effectively, given that everything's going to be on the shoulders of Kenyon Drake out there, and also the other guy that they got from the Patriots, Bolden, as well. I don't expect to see him get a lot of carries. It's pretty much going to be the Drake show coming out of the backfield. Miami needs this game desperately, and they have to perform, and they've been hot and cold all season. And because they're coming off of the loss but going back home, I think they'll be able to perform. As for the Jags, you know, offensively, they're struggling. I don't expect to see them put up any points at all. I think you see a couple of interceptions, maybe even a pick 6. On the ground, if they can't get going on the ground, the game's over for Jacksonville. Their defense won't be able to bail them out the same way it was last year. I think Miami takes care of business at home, and they keep their hopes alive for possibly going into the postseason. Next, the Eagles taking on the Texans. This is a big-time game. All right, had it not been for the Saints and the Steelers, this would have been my game of the week. I'll say this. The Eagles can pull off the upset here and hold it down at home, but it's the offensive line that has to perform. All right, now you got some names on your offensive line over there. You still got Peters over there. You got Lane Johnson over there. You got Kelsey over there. All those guys pretty much upset about the Pro Bowl at what's going on, especially Kelsey. I believe Peters did ultimately get in. I can't remember what the selection was for the tackles on the NFC, but I'll say this. This particular game, I believe Foles will be able to throw the ball effectively. And I said last video that I believe that Foles fits this offense a little bit better because they constantly find themselves trying to be dynamic with Wentz. That's not saying that Foles is the better quarterback, because I believe Wentz has a top 5 talent in the league. Let's not forget, this man was pretty much the MVP up until he got hurt last year. All right, just because you saw the man come out this year and underperform, you rushed back from an ACL injury. You had a back problem pretty much majority of the year. If you're playing extremely hurt like that and you're trying to battle through everything, you're not gonna be yourself. Let's really judge and evaluate Wentz next year when he comes back fully healthy. As for Nick Foles leading this offense right now, they got a little bit of a swagger about themselves right now. All right, and because of that, I'm rolling with the Eagles to win this game and, you know, stop the Texans coming on the road. I'm a little concerned about their defense, primarily that secondary. I'm not sure if they'll be able to stop a DeAndre Hopkins. But their defensive line, I think the defensive line for the Eagles make this game. You're playing in Lincoln Financial Field. The crowd is going to be booming. It's going to be loud. I think they force a couple of false start penalties here and there. I think their defensive line, Michael Bennett and the crew, get after Deshaun Watson. Fletcher Cox getting constant penetration here and there. They got some names on the line. Their linebackers, I think they'll be able to cover the intermediate passes. I think they forced Deshaun Watson into a couple of turnovers here and there. I expect to see a very strong defensive showing from both teams. But ultimately, I believe the Eagles can possibly pull off the upset here because they are going to be the underdog coming into this game. I mean, the Texans are pretty much rolling. And I don't expect to see a lot of a run game coming from the Texans either. So it's really going to be Deshaun Watson having to sling it all over the place. And I don't feel confident if the Texans don't have the ability to use their entire playbook. Because if it becomes a Deshaun Watson show, hell, he can throw, he can sling it. But if you're one-dimensional and you're giving that defensive line, you're giving Fletcher Cox a lot of time to try to get after the quarterback where he knows I have a chance for a sack every single play. You're giving Michael Bennett, who wears them kicker pads darn near. It looked like he's just wearing a damn blazer underneath his shoulder pads. If he's even wearing shoulder pads, he just got the damn, he got the jersey over a blazer with no shoulder pads on. I don't know why they let this man go out there and kick his pads or children's pads. But if you're giving them, the opportunity to go out there and get after the quarterback every single play, and they know it's gonna be a pass every single play, you better watch out. Because the Eagles are playing at home, I'm picking the Eagles to win this game. You remember I said that. Next, we got the Vikings taking on the Lions in Detroit. I want to say Detroit so bad, but rolling with the Vikings to win this game. I think they're going to be able to run the ball effectively. Detroit coming off a bad loss at Buffalo last week. Outside of Kenny Golladay, you didn't really have any bright spots on offense. And you're playing against a good Vikings defense with their back up against the wall. I think Kirk Cousins actually has a very good game this particular game on the road. We haven't seen it often on the road where this guy goes out there and slings it. But this particular game, I think he does what has to be taken care of and wins the game for the Vikings. On top of that, I think they're going to be able to run the ball against Detroit as well. Detroit may be playing at home, but who's worried about going to Detroit to play against the Lions? Nobody. All right, I think they go out there, they take care of business. As for the Lions, I don't expect to see a lot of errant turnovers. I don't expect to see that. But I do think Stafford throws an interception. It ends up being costly, puts great field position for the Vikings. They benefit off of that. And I also see the Vikings forcing the Lions to have to kick field goals rather than score touchdowns. And that will be the difference maker in the particular game. It won't be all Vikings the entire game. I don't predict it to be all Vikings, although it could turn out like that. But I think it's going to be a balanced game. But what separates both teams is the Vikings finish in the end zone, the Lions finish with 3 points on the board, being field goal, field goal, field goal, field goal, field goal. I don't expect to see Matt Prater make that many field goals, but still, nonetheless, I'm rolling with the Vikings to win this game. Next, the Packers taking on the Jets, traveling to MetLife Stadium. I want to say the Jets going to win this game because defensively, they've been playing better defense, but I'm rolling with the Packers to win. You're upset about not making it to the postseason. Guys are going to be pretty much upset playing the entire game. Defensively, you're playing against Darnold, who does have a lot of turnovers at that. I don't expect him to get after the quarterback. I think Darnold's going to be upright majority of the game, but I think he gives a couple of passes to Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers does what he does. A lot of people throwing out questions about his elite ability. I think he silences those critics, at least closing out the season. He's not going to be able to go into the postseason and really silence people, but I think Aaron Rodgers does what he does and possibly wins this game, or I should say he does win this game for the Packers. Outside of that, I don't expect to see much of a run game coming from the Packers, but it can happen. You've seen it sporadically throughout the entire season, so if they do get the running game going, this game's over for the Jets. So I'm rolling with the Packers to win this game. Next, the Bengals taking on the Browns. The Browns need this game to keep their hopes alive in the playoff race. Over under on MyBookie.AG. Use the promo code Chiseled Adonis is 44.5. All right. I believe the Browns can win this game at home. I do. Because you're playing up against a backup quarterback in Jeff Driscoll. You saw last week the only bright spot for Cincinnati really was Joe Mixon on the ground, and I believe that the Browns can shut down that run. And offensively, I think the Browns can move the ball, fairly well against this Cincinnati defense. I expect to see Nick Chubb run the ball, no problem. Baker Mayfield, as long as he takes care of the football, they can win this game. You saw last time they played against each other, what happened? The Browns went and took care of business, and on top of that, there's an emotional factor because Hugh Jackson is coming on the road. This is taking place in Cleveland. And he's coming back to Cleveland for the first time since getting fired. And we'll see how things play out. But I think an emotional standpoint, the Browns go out there and take care of business, man. They go out there, they take care of business. Baker Mayfield slings the ball around, but I expect Jarvis Landry to be the big difference maker in this particular game. I think he's going to go out there and have himself performance of the year. In his case, not best, receiving showcase of this entire year. I don't expect to see that, but I think Jarvis has his best game of the season, man. Watch out for those tight ends. In Cleveland, when they play in Cleveland, I don't know what it is, Higgins and Njoku, those guys, man, they start performing when they playing at home, especially if they get into the red zone. If Baker Mayfield's over there and you still playing, this is your fantasy championship, you got one of those tight ends from Cleveland, I'd start him. That's what I'd do. But hey, don't take my word for it. It's not like I'm usually right. Next, we got the Cardinals taking on the Rams. The Rams traveling to Arizona. This is going to be a W for the Rams. I don't see a situation in which they struggle. Over-under for this particular game is 43 points. No, 44 and a half. I think the Rams walk away with a W. I don't think they're going to have any problems playing against this Cardinals front. You've seen this entire season, the Cardinals have been abysmal. All right, so I don't expect to see them in a situation in which they stop the Rams. I think Todd Gurley goes wild on the ground. As long as they commit to the run game, they'll win this game. But if it becomes a Jared Goff show, I think Patrick Peterson gets them a couple times. I think Chandler Jones goes and gets himself a couple of sacks. It all comes down to coaching. I believe if Sean McVay goes and plays the football that has been winning football for them, and that's turning around, handing it to Gurley, using the play action fake, now you're finding Robert Woods down the field. You're finding Brandon Cooks down the field. You're finding Higbee down the field. You're finding Everett down the field. Stuff like that, you'll be able to win this game as long as they run the football. But either way, I think the Rams walk away with a W. I'd love to give an analysis for the Cardinals, but they are absolutely trash this particular season. Next, Saints taking on the Steelers. This game, very interesting. Very interesting. Because I believe Pittsburgh can win if they follow the same philosophy they did last week. Defensively, do I expect to see the same stupendous performance? Absolutely not. You're not playing in Pittsburgh. The crowd cannot force those penalties, pre-snap penalties like it did before. You're playing inside New Orleans, where New Orleans is extremely scary at that. I'll say this though. This Saints team, if they cannot get the ground game going, and they're one-dimensional where they're constantly throwing the ball. Drew Brees throwing the ball is phenomenal, but if they're if they become one-dimensional, I'm a little bit concerned, and I think the Saints can be beat. It's not saying that Drew's not going to throw great passes, which he will, but if you get a couple of incompletions here, or you get a pass defended here from the defense, you're getting off of the field and the ball's in the hand of your opponent, and they start running the ball, and they start chewing up clock, and they start controlling the time of possession. Now, Drew Brees is on the field less and less and less, and you have less possessions, you have less time to put up points. And that's the exact same philosophy that was followed by the Cowboys, and they were able to win. But the Cowboys were playing at home. This is being done in New Orleans. I'll say this about Pittsburgh. They have to play mistake-free football on offense. Big Ben cannot go out there and throw interceptions. If that starts to happen, this game's over. They have to somewhat establish the run game. You need to get Jalen Samuels going, because it said earlier today James Conner doesn't feel confident that his ankle will be ready. He's able to run, but he can't really cut like that. So we'll see how things play out. And pardon the sounds in my background. My mother just happened to be home today cooking something for the church that she happens to attend. So she's going to be speaking sporadically. The phone just rang. She picked it up. It wasn't Roger Goodell calling me, asking a bunch of questions like, how do you know the results of the games? Why are you spoiling that this NFL is fixed? What's going on here? Do you need me to cut you a check? I'm not really going to cut you a check. I'm going to send an Italian named Billy. You're going to end up swimming with the fishes. I don't know why the hell I started studying all my goddamn words. Maybe I need to get myself some water. But nonetheless, this particular game between the Saints and the Steelers, it's the NFL game of the week. In my opinion, I believe most people would say it is indeed the game of the week. I believe Pittsburgh can win. All right, what you got to do is control the time of possession. Number 2, shut down the run. All right, if they do those two things, shut down the run, time of possession, mistake-free football, that's number 3. I believe they can win this game. On top of that, I've been saying for some weeks, I expect Antonio Brown to have himself a big-time game. All right, I don't know why. I'm not going to say this particular game. I think he got one left in him. And on top of that, since you'll know after Saturday if you'll have the division, ability to lock up the division this particular week, I think that influences it as well. Because if Baltimore wins, you understand I'm now a step back in the division. I need to win this game. On top of that, if Baltimore loses, now you're in a situation where I can clinch the division. So Baltimore's result, I think it's going to influence the game. If Baltimore loses, I think Pittsburgh can get a little bit complacent. But if Baltimore wins and now Pittsburgh sees themselves, they're going to see themselves being out of the postseason because they're going to shift, the thing. So Pittsburgh will see themselves being out. They're like, wait a minute now, we got to win because if we don't, we're not going to the playoffs. So I think Pittsburgh wins this game. But New Orleans, I would not be surprised they walk away with the W. This is really a coin flip sort of game, man. Anybody can win. I'm expecting this game to be fireworks. Fireworks. I expect it to be extremely, extremely exciting. Next game, all right? And over-under for that game is 53 points. I think they crush the 53 points. I think they're going to be in the 30s, each of them. I don't expect to see defense's existence at all. I'm not even going to address Cameron Jordan talking about Big Ben not being a top 5 quarterback of his era, talking about Eli. If we're talking about rings, he'd rank Eli ahead of him. I'm not even going to address it. Idiocracy. Next, we got the Chiefs taking on the Seahawks in Seattle. Over-under for this particular game is 57 points. I believe this game, it will be lower than 57 points because they're playing in Seattle. Seattle knows how to utilize their defense, especially when they're playing at home. This will be a chess match between Mahomes taking on Wagner. I think the Seahawks will get the better of the Chiefs. I think they're going to win this game because they are playing at home. More importantly, the struggles of the Chiefs defense this entire season. I think the Seattle Seahawks will run the ball all over their defense. All over their defense. Because they've been able to run the ball this season. That's what's made Seattle scary, especially when they're playing at home. And the Chiefs, if they allow the other team to have the time of possession, this game is over. Game is over. I trust Russell Wilson with the ball in his hand. There's a reason why you call him Dangerous. He's going to go out there and take care of business. Mahomes is going to do him. He's going to do him. He's going to throw the ball here and there. You got to have Tyreek Hill, and Pete Carroll's going to know how to limit Tyreek Hill here and there. I think Tyreek Hill gets one big play. Whether it's going to be a touchdown or not, he's going to get one big play. Outside of that, I see him being pretty much nullified. The key for this particular game for the Chiefs is get Travis Kelce going. If they get Travis Kelce going, they got themselves a chance. But if Travis Kelce is struggling, if Tyreek Hill only has that one play and it becomes a Mahomes show where he has to constantly throw the ball all over the place, I have a little bit of a worry here for the Chiefs. I'm rolling with Seattle to win this game. I think Seattle's run game will cement this W for them, and now the Chiefs going to find themselves like, damn, we was number 1 in the AFC all year. Now we in the wild card because the Chargers got the division. God damn, somebody gonna be throwing their hat. Andy Reid gonna be choking on a hot dog or something like that. It's gonna be unfortunate. But I'm rolling with the Seattle Seahawks to win this particular game. And finally, Monday Night Football, the Broncos taking on the Oakland Raiders. Over under 43.5 points. On MyBookie.AG, use the promo code Chiseled Adonis. I am choosing the Denver Broncos to win this game. I think Philip Lindsay runs the ball no problem against this defense. He's gonna show why he is indeed a Pro Bowl selection. As for the offense of the Oakland Raiders, I think they're going to struggle to block for Derek Carr. I think Von Miller has himself a great game. Either him and Bradley Chubb combined for 4 sacks, or one of them individually gets themselves 3 sacks. Whatever the case is going to be, I expect to see those pass rushers show up and play very good football. Case Keenum, Derek Carr sort of battle. Derek Carr is going to win with the battle through the air. I don't think Carr is going to throw a lot of interceptions. I think this game's going to be way closer than people anticipate. It'll probably come down to the foot or I should say the toe of Brandon McManus. But regardless, I'm choosing the Denver Broncos to win this particular game. Now, let me just run down what my picks are. The Tennessee Titans, the Los Angeles Chargers, Dallas Cowboys, New England Patriots, Atlanta Falcons, Miami Dolphins. I didn't even talk about the Colts and the Giants. I didn't even talk about the Colts and the Giants. Let me hop right into that. Colts taking on the Giants. The Giants just got shut out by the goddamn Dallas Cowboys. All right? Colts just came off a big-time win over the Dallas Cowboys. No, the Giants got shut out by the Tennessee Titans. Colts just shut out the Dallas Cowboys. So you got a team that just come off a shutout, a team that just shut out another team. All right, and you've already seen the Giants have been struggling pretty much the entire year. If you just saw the Colts take away Ezekiel Elliott, you think they're not going to do the same to Saquon Barkley? Man, the Colts got this game no problem, and I don't see Andrew Luck having any sort of drop-off. This is taking place in Indianapolis. When they're playing in Indianapolis, this Colts team is something different. Watch out for Eric Ebron, too, because the Giants are not going to be able to cover that tight end. Rolling with the damn Colts to win this game. Now, Let me run down the picks one more time. I can't believe I forgot. It was in between the text. Almost missed it. People who's Giants fans and Colts fans like, what's going on? People screaming like Quentin Nelson coming on a pull. Next, I got the Titans, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Patriots, the Falcons, Dolphins, the Colts, the Eagles, the Vikings, the Packers, the Browns, the Rams, the Bears. Oh, God, good Lord Almighty. I forgot about the Bears and the 49ers. The over-under for that one is 43 points. I'm rolling with the Bears to win this game. Yes, the 49ers may have beat the Seattle Seahawks last week. I understand that, but that's a divisional sort of opponent. My only concern for this particular game will be offense for the Chicago Bears. But if they get their run game going like I expect them to do, if they get the pass game and the check down and the dinking and dunking going like I expect them to do, they'll go out there and win the game. More importantly, Khalil Mack is still on the line. This Bears defense probably gonna mess around and get themselves 2 defensive touchdowns. If not 2, they definitely gonna get 1. Eddie Jackson might get himself an interception. Prince Amukamara might just get himself an interception. Kyle Fuller might just get himself an interception. That linebacking core might just get themselves an interception. Whatever the case is, I expect to see Nick Mullins go over there, turn over the football a couple of times. There might just be some strip sacks here and there. I think 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble. Whatever the case is, Bears defense partying inside Club Dub or Dub Club. Whatever the hell they want to call it. Spice Adams is usually in there dancing and stuff, listening to some goddamn Anita Baker. But nonetheless, the Chicago Bears win. Now let me run it down from the beginning to the end. I think that's every single game. I ain't missed nothing. All right, stop judging me in the damn comment section. We got the Titans, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Patriots, the Falcons, the Dolphins, the Colts, the Eagles, the Vikings, the Packers, the Browns, the Rams, the Bears, the Steelers, the Seahawks, and the Broncos. Those are my picks for 2018 NFL Week 16. Camera may have cut off, but luckily it was right at the end of the video. But as I said before, obviously you couldn't hear because the camera cut off. I was talking to absolutely nobody. It was a poltergeist in here, wondering why I kept talking to it. It wasn't a poltergeist, it was Boo the ghost from Mario Party. Matter of fact, that is indeed a poltergeist because Boo is a ghost. We ain't talking about Boo right now. I don't got no star to protect myself. There's no invincibility. The Boo is gonna get me. It's gonna take my coins, my stars. I'm gonna lose in Mario Party. Luigi is gonna be standing at the top with the damn star. You thought it was gonna be Mario? It's not gonna be Mario. Fuck Mario. We some player 2 ass motherfuckers. That's a joke from Hot Damn I Rock, but we ain't talking about that right now. What you should do is, if you don't believe in my goddamn picks, go to MyBookie.AG, use the promo code Chiseled Adonis. You can go over there and win some money. Alright, I done won some money. Alright, last week alone, I won $40 with the Saints losing to the Cowboys. I won over 200. It was actually higher than 200. I don't want to disclose the actual information. In fact, I already did. So if you were watching my videos, you would have already known how much money I made. But we ain't talking about that right now. Why am I talking about tippy toes? Regardless, this has been your 2018 NFL Week 16 post-week. No, not post-week. Is this some sort of genjutsu? Am I back from the future? Marty McFly pre-week. My mother's making a lot of noise trying to cut up some stuff. I don't know what she's doing, but I am your host, the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the Chiseled Adonis. You guys enjoy your Thursday and enjoy the Saturday night football, Saturday afternoon football, Sunday afternoon football and Sunday night football. Also, Monday night football. And if you're watching football on a Tuesday somewhere, it's probably on YouTube because they don't got no professional football on Tuesday. But yeah, I'm getting the hell up out of here. Enjoy your Thursday.